I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, November the 21st, brought to you in part by Bovolus Vision, clostridial vaccines that spur cattle forward and never backward. And each bottle of Bovolus Vision that you buy gives you a monthly chance to win a fancy Greeley Hatworks cowboy hat. For more information, go to power-buy-spur.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, no sale this Tuesday here leading up to the Thanksgiving holiday, but they do have some special sales here on the calendar. Be coming up right around the corner just next week. Got the Red Angus special on November the 28th at Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma, and then having a very special replacement cow sale on December the 9th. And they're kind of really make that an exclusive kind of a cow sale, keep the numbers down. Of course, they're going to have a hell of an offering there, but wanting to kind of keep those cows young to middle age and not have so many older cows there where it's just another packer cow sale. But they're really excited about that December the 9th special replacement cow sale. They'll have some fancy replacement heifers and a lot of young cows there. And if you've got some to consign, get a hold of them there at Beaver County Stockyards. Weaned calves are coming. Now, we've seen a few spots and some smatterings of weaned calves sold here the last several weeks, or actually the last few months. But now we're getting into some weaned calves, especially up in the northern plains and in the Midwest. A lot of those versatile producers there that also farmed, they've been done with harvest now long enough that they've got calves weaned. Those that raise calves there, they will be selling them now here through the holidays and immediately after the first of the year. That was always our biggest sales of the year when I was up in northwest Missouri at St. Joe Stockyards. Was the first sale after the new year. And also we're getting close enough to the end of the year. A lot of these producers have made a lot of money and they're wanting to defer payment. So you have to really trust an auction barn to defer payment, but you can take your cattle in there now and not receive your check until after the first of the year. So if you really trust them, you'll do that, but you don't want to have to tempt them any longer than you have to. So you don't want to have to do it for multiple months, but for maybe a month or 6 weeks, it's not that big a deal to trust your local auction market there with your check and then to receive it after the first of the year. But we've got a lot of wean back specials coming up here over the next several weeks, and they will definitely attract some attention. Right here today on DVAuction, Cattleman's Livestock in Paris, Texas is going to be having their pre-vac 45 sale, and they will have some fancy calves on that. Those will not be commingled, but they will feature some larger drafts than what they typically have there at Cattleman's Livestock in Paris. But check that out on DVAuction today here, the 21st on Tuesday. Joplin Regional Stockyard is going to be having a big wean vac special on December the 7th. Of course, they had a huge yearling special on Monday here this week, but this will be mostly calves, but they'll be hard weaned calves, most of them weaned and turned back out. Now that's a difference right there. When you got calves been shut up in a pen and weaned, or if you've got calves that have been weaned and turned back out by themselves away from the cows and been getting along, I tell you what, they're pretty foolproof. I did hear a message from Jim Akers out there that manages Bluegrass Stockyards out in Kentucky. They've got 7 or 8 different locations out there that they're going to be having some big strings of weaned calves coming in here after Thanksgiving. So we're going to see a bigger discount yet for those unweaned ballers. If you're still planning on pulling those right off the cow and they're fleshy and they haven't been worked and they haven't been weaned and they don't have any shots, they're going to be selling even further back from the bulk of the supplies. Now that the bulk of the supplies are going to be weaned, we're going to see our average prices on calves get even higher. You know, we've been seeing some fantastic calf prices here all fall until, you know, the board kind of killed the market here the last 2 or 3 weeks. But, you know, I think we've kind of showed them that. They were splitting hairs over the cattle on feed report. I don't think they're going to get much traction out of that anymore. I think most of those that wanted to push the futures down, they've kind of done it. And not sure how much more traction they're going to get out of that, especially when you look at the hairs that we were splitting on the cattle on feed report. And then now they say, well, everything's okay, I guess there. You know, we were 3% lighter on the placements than what the average of the analysts thought there. But, you know, it's just ridiculous that was their main fuel for killing the futures market when they just wanted to kill it. You know, you just do it. Don't even lie to us about it. Don't tell us that it's something that has something to do with fundamentals, because we know that it doesn't. Your November 1st inventories on Friday's cattle on feed report, the November 1st inventories were the 4th largest inventory for November since we've been keeping the series, which I tell you, it's always something biggest, you know, since the series began. But since 1996, the 4th largest November 1st inventory that we've seen, and the October placements were the 3rd smallest than we've ever seen. So that goes to show you what I was talking about on the previous cattle or feeder flash, excuse me, that I think these beef on dairies are making a big difference. You know, when our calf slaughter is 20% lighter than a year ago, all those dairy cattle are going somewhere. They're making them beef on dairy cattle and they're putting them in the feedlot, and instead of being in there for 150 days, they're in there for 300 days, and they keep counting them, and they don't know where all these numbers are coming from. And then a lot of people say, oh, it's all them cattle from Mexico they're bringing up there and they're putting them in the feedlot. A lot of those cattle that they bring in from Mexico are way too small to go in the feedlot. That feed is way too rich for them right off the bat. They need to be turned out for a while. And actually, the lion's share of the Mexican cattle that go on feed in Texas, in the Texas Panhandle. Your Texas placements were in October were unchanged from a year ago, so that wasn't a big deal there. But you know, they do feed a lot of Mexican origin cattle in the Texas Panhandle, and if you've got enough of them and you're getting in a sweetheart deal with one of the big 4 packers, you can sell them $1 over the market every week. I promise you. That is the only true premium in this industry, is volume, people. And if you got enough volume, you can sell whatever kind of coon shit you want and get a premium for it there. But let's talk about your board. To open the week on Monday, December live cattle futures were down, but just 27 cents at 175.47. February was down just 15 cents at 176.65. Your back months were all up 30 cents to up $1.05 on your back months of live cattle, so it wasn't too bad there. Feeder cattle were all higher. January feeder cattle up $1.35 at 229.85. March up 132 at 232.30. Back months on feeder cattle up 122 to up 147. December corn futures up 2.5 cents a bushel at 469.5. January beans up 27 cents at 13.67 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December down 7.5 cents a bushel at 610.5. Talk about your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade in your 5 area feeding region. The whole entire 5 area only sold just less than 50,000. There was 49,800 head sold in a negotiated manner in the 5 area feeding region. That's more than the previous week at 42,200. Not nearly as much as the same week a year ago at 74,200. Your weighted average, or your price spread on fat steers and heifers last week in the 5-area feeding region was 175 to 181. A lot more at the 175, 607, than there was at the 181, only 106. You look at that price spread, it's $1 lower, but the weighted average on live steers was 177.82. That was $2.09 lower than the previous week. Dress sales ranged from 278 to 282. That was $2 higher on the bottom side, $8 lower on the top side, and they was nearly all at 282. 10,100 head at 282, and your weighted average on dress steers was 281.42, down 472 for the week. So over the last 2 weeks, your live price has lost $7. Your dress price has lost over $10. So it's been a big hit, guys, to take. But overall, your market in the northern plains is steady for last week, was steady to $3 lower at 178, $1 to $5 lower dressed at 282. Southern Plains market was $2 to $3 lower at 178. Nationwide, they sold 61,700 head. That was a little bigger than the previous week of 50,300. Not nearly as big as the same week a year ago of 90,600. Of the 61,700 they sold, about 20% of those, or 12,400, were for the 15 to 30 day delivery. We had 38,000 negotiated grid, 14,300 forward contracts last week, 260,400 formula sales last week. Of your negotiated sales, which are the only ones that really matter to try to keep track of, Iowa sold 19,100 negotiated last week, Nebraska 18,800, Kansas 5,800, and Texas 6,100. So they're going to be a little short bought in the Southern Plains this week, guys, even though we're in a holiday week. They're buying for a week that's not a holiday week. Box beef cutout values were higher for a change. Choice cuts were up $1.88 on Monday afternoon at $295.75. Selects up a quarter at $270.95. First day of slaughter started out about on par at 125,000. Talk about what else is going on. The Night Latch group, which is Andy and Codell Cunningham there, Western Oklahoma and West Texas, they can help you out with your ag risk. Just about everything you need, of course, crop insurance, all your livestock policies, everything, but they specialize in the livestock gross margin policies that a lot of the other outfits don't fool with because they haven't figured them out yet. But let them show you how the LGM policies can help you manage the risk on your corn and your cattle on feed at the same time. Also, the PRF lack of rainfall insurance, they do sell a lot of that, and they specialize in that also. For more information, go to nightlatch.net. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Monday, sitting at 226.61. That was up nearly $1 with the addition of Monday sales, which were really good, heavily influenced by Joplin Regional Stockyards yearling special, but up 94 cents there. Latest CME cash feeder cattle index 228.64. But I've got one more feeder flash visit for you this week. It will be for Wednesday, and then going to take a little break. Going to eat heavily, watch a lot of football. Hope you guys enjoy the time with your family late this week and over the weekend also. But talk about your big sales on Monday, and of course the biggest, Joplin Regional Stockyards big yearling special. That 10,600 head, mostly all yearlings, guys. Where do you find that many yearlings? The overwhelming majority of them offered in load lots this time of year. Well, right there in southwest Missouri, you can find them. They're always turning cattle in that part of the country. That's why it's a good place to have a stockyard. But the yearling feeder steers, which they didn't have a huge test of last week, but they did have some, Well, this week, offered in loads and on a special, those yearling feeder steers sold $5 to $10 higher. The yearling feeder heifers sold $10 to $18 higher. Well, that's a big reason why your real-time index was that much higher on a 7-day moving average. Your steer calves were steady to $2 higher. Heifer calves steady to $3 lower. Joplin Regional Stockyards was your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. You look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. They gathered nearly all those cattle that come through there, just washed away a few unmerchanables that were too far from the weighted average of the other cattle to stay in there. But look at the steers, 921 head of 6-weight steers. A lot of them would have been yearlings. Average 642 at 236.10, about $7 higher than last week. 1,203 head of 7-weight steers, average 754. Weighted average price $234.99, about $3 higher. 2,302 head of 8-weight steers. You usually don't see that many of them anywhere. They averaged $856. Weighted average price on over 2,300 of them, all of them, was $231.15, about $9 higher than last week. 947 head of 9-weight steers in Joplin, averaged $933 at $219.04, up $6. We've got a couple weight groups of heifers. 727 head of 6-weight heifers, average 642 at 226.37, sharply higher. 1,064 head of 7-weight heifers, average 742 at 219.12, also sharply higher. So also don't forget, here today, Joplin's got their primetime livestock video, and that is another yearling special. Those are yearlings that they didn't get into the barn, but they're still yearlings. They've got 40 lots, and pretty much almost every lot that I looked at was multiple loads. So they're selling a lot of cattle here today. I believe it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Primetime livestock video, yearling special through JRS. Talk about your next biggest sale, Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City. 5,000 head there. Didn't have very many feeder cattle at all. The few that they had were mostly steady and a light test. The wheat calves that they had, those ready to go right to turn out, which would be your weaned kind, weighing from 4.5 to 6 probably, $4 to $10 higher. Other classes that were on hand were mostly steady. Stick out deal with some big feeding steers through National Livestock. 71 head of them, weighed 832 and bring 226. I'm going to give you a quote. I didn't have a lot of quotes, not many sales at all this week up in the Midwest or in the Northern Plains, not even on Monday for the most part, so didn't have a whole lot of sales. But I'm going to give you a top quote from Friday's Net Bio special at Sulphur Springs Livestock Auction. Now these cattle are weaned and vaccinated, commingled, and sold in bigger groups there. They do a good job of it there. They had 79 black and black baldy steers, weighed 516, bring $3 a pound, and you just don't see that, guys, down there in Central Texas bringing that kind of money. But that's a good price there. If you're in that part of the country and you're interested in getting top prices for your cattle, do the work, get them weaned, get them vaccinated, and find a special sale somewhere to sell those cattle. But the most impressive quote that I've seen or heard of anywhere on Monday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Western Oklahoma Livestock Auction near Clinton, Oklahoma, that new barn right along I-40 there. They sold 190 weaned steers from Foss, Oklahoma. They weighed 471 and bring 324. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.